the proof of a long party is consumerism. So more than 200 years. So in 200 years is broken down in 200 years. So there is a crisis every 100 years. The last crisis yenye tulikuwa nayo ni 1929, the Great Depression. When is the 100 year inaisha when?
Mark in a few years.
2029. We are all talking about 2030, but we don't know why we are talking about 2030. Because 2030 is the first year of the next 100 years. In 100 years, there are 10-year crisis. Every 10 years kuna crisis. Tuanze backwards. Tuanze sahi, sindio? Tuko kwa crisis. 10 years ago plus minus 2008. Subprime mortgage crisis. 10 years before that kulikuwa na .com bubble in 2000. 10 years before that kulikuwa na another crash, and 10 years until 100 years iishe. So there are people who chill for the 10-year cycle because every time kuna crisis, say the world is cheap. You can buy anything for cheap. Yeah, the world is the most discounted in crisis.
Kama sahi.
Kasai.
Ina get worse.
Ina get worse. It's a buyer's market, man. This is the golden age. Nimesema story more.
No, but ni interesting juu. Just to add on to kilo umesema about the period na kuiteka a bit deeper.
Yeah.
Ni actually scary ukiangalia mali dunia inaelekea. Juu the billionaires out thinkers wanaongea kuhusu saa yake Elon Musk, akina Jeff Bezos na race for space.
Yeah.
Na kuna kitu interesting umesema. Unajua kama say Elon Musk about during the crisis aliannounce anauza all belongings in terms of houses, real estate, kila kitu abaki bila.
Assets zake
wana change entirely how wana view hizo parts. So unajua for the longest time make those packs ni kubai mahau, kubai magari. Wana flip on its head. So tumesema hiyo consumerism tunaongea kuhusu.
Yes. Consumerism ndio ilikuwa proof of kufika.
Wana flip it on its head. Na Elon Musk ameanza wa kwanza. Ukisema something about it, thinking yake ni interesting sana. Of course what I'm right off was a crazy guy. Eccentric billionaire, but ameanza kuflood mahau zote. Anataka anasema atabaki na bila any worldly belongings. Of course ana assets zote na ana control billions of dollars. But anajaribu conquer mass. So already kuna hiyo thinking ya kuondokea consumerism, kind of like Warren Buffett, of course. The fancy cars, the thing.
By the way, unajua ni philosophy ilikuwa. Outside food, everything else is plowed for growth. Food inaweza kuwa kwenye una stay, kwenye unakula, kwenye unavaa. Basic. It's not about living frugal, but ni about living for growth. As opposed to living for consumerism. So food is whatever you define it as something I need.
Essentials zako.
Outside food, everything else is seed that is plowed for growth. Najita staying broke. It's a huge philosophy sahi.
I need to say that because for me, for the longest time sinakuwa nikiona kitu. Kila kitu changu naona kampuni. Alafu na mimi niko dedicated to the company entirely.
Actually, yes.
I think uko na the same model at some degree.
Mimi niko na the same model. And Jeff Bezos do the same exact thing. And it's not illegal anyway.
No, but you notion ya kuto kwa entirely dedicated to the work. And of course it's a slippery slope. You can lose humanity for the most part. For me, I think at the level niko kama sahi, the way I work, everything is around the work, and then I take a short break, maybe a day or two, and then go back to the work. But even the short break is still tied to the work. You're trying to refresh so that you can go back to the work.
But unajua nini? Because you're caught up in you, the essence of you. Unajua kitu si tuko similar ni we are caught up in thinking. Most of the time people don't understand. What do I get? You say when you're thinking, people say, so you give me a break from thought. When I get usiniulize swali ngumu, sasa ina try to rest. But to you si swali ngumu na try kuuliza. You just built that way. Uko built to be inquisitive, uko curious, because that's how a thinker would look at things. Because a thinker is first an observer. The then una observe, una analyze, unaona, okay, I see what you're doing, but how come it seems to me it's inefficient? Yeah. Unaget, how come naona ni kama there's a better way to do this thing? What if? Yeah.
Actually, just now on the drive here nilikuwa discuss na Eugene about inefficiencies kwa makampuni na masilos. Alafu nilikuwa tuna maswali hapo, ulichoka eh? Haya, tunakwenda next.
But ina make sense. Ina make sense juu then and naweza taka tuingie kwa hiyo story. Now that we have spoken about thinkers, let's speak about the weirdness of a thinker. Things that people look at and seem sufanya tu vitu za kawaida. But to you, you don't know that vitu za kawaida ndio nafanya. What I'm doing is the kawaida thing. What are the things from your experience realize that? And that's why they say it's lonely at the top. It's lonely when you're leading because sometimes you're just not understood. What are some of those things that you're ukiangalia hivi unaona tu, if only they understood what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think for me it took a while. For a long time nilikuwa nafanya vitu alafu najisensor. Juko too afraid of being too different.
Because you're dumbing down. Intentionally.
Yeah, in conversation I'm too intense. So unakam down to unaiondokea entirely. There's a period that nilikuwa dumb down to entirely, hata mimi naacha tu kufikiria hivyo. To hang to let's have a drink, tuache tu maneno mingi. But then as time went by, life wanza kuvalidate. Una madness yako si madness imewaka. Alafu all of a sudden uko better than when walikuwa nakata kufikiria hiyo issue.
The second age.
Yeah, alafu una double down on it, which is what I've constantly been doing. Only ni meet nikianza 2012 2013 kuna my first TV show, unakumbuka?
Bana, umetoka tu kuwa mse wa boom.
Kwanza tu kutoka mse boom swing huko nimepata make my first million.
Yeah.
Unakumbuka? Nimebuy gari ya kwanza. Unakumbuka hizo siku?
Nakumbuka.
So at the time hata ukiwatch nilikuwa na watch all the episodes of Young Rich.
Nikipause to rewind kidogo utasahau place yenye huko.
Tutarudi.
Rewind back. The first million. For some strange reason, people make it. I don't know why people pause at the million, but let's go to the million.
Yeah.
What in your mind? What was going through your mind? First million, because I'm sure we do conversations, more of interviews, and people just get stuck at the million.
Yeah.
So, what can we do to demystify that state of the million?
I think the reason a million yuko such a strange amount, it's one of those things that ukishavuka umevuka.
Yeah.
Imeanza kwa issue. So for me, I think part of the other reason making your first million is usually a story is because saving a million is tough. You have to be mellow, because if say you're earning a salary of 30-40k, living expenses before you save to a million, a lot of people do it, but it takes a while. Now why it's why it's different for entrepreneurs is because when you build your own thing, it doesn't take a while. You just need one break, and in a week, uko sawa. Which is what happened with me. I was a teacher. So, I was a teacher. I used to run a movie shop.
By the
way, movies are 50, but nilikuwa pirate.
Pool table.
Nilikuwa na place ya video games na pool tables. As nilikuwa na hustle hard. Nilikuwa na hustle hard. Of course nilikuwa na save. I think the most nilikuwa nimemake kama 200k. At some point nilikuwa 200k kwa account.
As a college kid, that's crazy.
Nilikuwa college kid, but at the same time bado na pitch TV show niko nayo in my mind. Bado nilikuwa nataka, nilikuwa tuna dream big. The funny thing is sign not target $1 billion. Bado naka out of my mind But nilikuwa sure as in bado nafanya the basic. What I'm required to do to bring daily bread to the table. But at the same time, I can spend 2-3 hours daily working on the bigger thing, which was Young Rich for me at the time.
Yes.
So nikanoka ndoz nini. How I made my first million and the most unromantic story. Hata hainanga complication.
Haina punchline.
Nilipitch kakataliwa. Eventually mtu mmoja akanicall K24 walikuwa willing kuiangalia. Nikaishia. Of course kwanza una get overexcited. I was in K24 nikapitch $1 million a week. Nikaambua tulia. Haiwakingi hivyo. So eventually nika sign contract ya 200k per episode. Plus VAT nini. First paycheck ni $1 million.
Yeah.
Of course kwa mtu anakuambianga umesainiwa contract but sasa itakudrain kwanza kabla milioni kufikia. Utaenda kuspend almost the equivalent.
Actually, that's the next thing. Probably demystify as well. How a million is not that much money.
No.
How quick a million can go. So zingine a million can just go within the same day.
Unless you've stolen. Usually to earn a million you have to have done some work. Because what? Average profit rate need for 10-20%.
Yes.
At best, if you're doing legit business.
True.
Unless umekafunga too. But for normal businesses, you're looking at a profit margin of about 10-20%.
Yeah.
So nobody tells you you may sign a $1 million contract, but of course I wasn't given a down payment.
It's not a million take home.
But now I have to go spend 700K somewhere, which I don't have, to service the contract for $1 million.
Yes.
So anyway, crazy stuff. So it was 2 months before I got the first $1 million, but then in that 2 months I had to spend like 700K. Now this is where business acumen comes in, and your relationships, because you can defer those payments. If you've gotten a contract for $1 million, you can go and convince people to do the work for you. Walipe ukilipwa.
In arrears.
Which is now where trust comes in.
Yeah.
So of course there was the running, but then eventually the $1 million landed in my account. 700 kwanza ikaenda immediately kwa madeni.
Yeah, you vanish. That's where sometimes what we miss. Wanaona ulikuwa na mita.
But now the magic for me was I had negotiated for this to be every month.
Yes, nakumbuka.
And that's where the magic came in.
Yeah.
Because I didn't just zingine watu call and after deal in my deal on a chase.
Yeah.
I find that form of doing business, it's nice, you can make huge money very quickly, but it's not the way I work.
Yeah.
So instead what I did is I negotiated. So Young Rich, for example, ran on TV for 3 years. So every month this money I could count on.
Yes.
Okay, if you get some of the expenses, it's not much, but you can now invest better.
Yeah.
You can buy better
in
a compound. And then, of course, as you know, since then, took on the 11th TV show, say, 11th TV show.
11th TV show, wow.
The one that in a premiere, by this month, took on the premiere, my 11th TV show. 11th TV show in a period of what? 8 years? 9? No, 7. Tangu 2013. Yeah, 7 years.
Ni juzi tu unajua?
Juzi tu. Tukiwa pale kwa ofisi yako Westi.
Umekufia hii story, man.
Umekufia nayo. Tulikuwa wapi kwa hiyo story yetu?
Yeah, sasa nikurudisha ile place. Nilikuwa nasema nilikuwa na view back Young Rich.
Nilikuwa na view back Young Rich, naona some of the intensity ilikuwa na tell story nayo ilikuwa too much even for the time.
Ilikuwa ahead of time.
Tulikuwa na main story ambayo ni the main interview, alafu kulikuwa na sub story ya Josh. Unakumbuka kwa episode yako?
Yeah.
Alafu Josh used to represent the poor guy.
Yeah.
So anakam tu ana make a fool of himself in front of those interviewees, but ilikuwa naangalia ilikuwa complex stuff. Alafu eventually walipokosa kuiget nikai dumb down. And that's where the show died.
Ilianzanga na hiyo concept.
Tulianza ilikuwa heavy, ilikuwa complex. The show had like 8 different segments. Nilikuwa na go deep into the business elements, because you remember it was a learning curve for me as well. Nilikuwa nauliza tough questions about interest rates and nini, alafu nakuwekea graphics pale about it. So after a while ikaanza kuwa too heavy for people, so nikai dumb down.
Unajua time ya first nilicheki the first episode umedu. Niko na msee, wow, umework hard. Unajua wasa wako na work hard in terms of content, ilikuwa tu content. Umelanda contract.
Una shoot tu ni interview, mnakaa inaondoka.
We fanya as long as ni deliver on time na whatever. But msee ulikuwa unaenda deeper. Cause to this day, anyone mwenye ulifeature, wakiulizwa their profile, wanagiana a video profile called Young Rich. To this day.
Tulikuwa tunago deep. Alafu nakumkata even some of the cases we had of the frauds, mi ndo waligo the farthest kunidanganya. So your intensity after a while nikaanza kuidumb down. Alafu sitaki kutaja ni shows gani nililipwa, but kuna shows hapo katikati nilikuwa tunazimake tu for the purposes of
acceptable standard.
Acceptable to staff.
So lazima zikuwe excellent.
Hakuna edge. So your intensity, but nikala the thing about kwa that intense, lazima kuwa willing to back it up. Otherwise, part of the reason I say wengi shy away from me, it's safer to be in a group. Kwa tu another people, sio safe kwa different from other people, from having different opinions and sticking to it. But mimi kamkula, so long as naweza back up beat yangu, na siko too concerned about what people think, interest yangu imekam back. Alafu now niko more intense than I've ever been, I think in the last 2 years or so. Alafu mimi niko willing to back up nini yangu na knowledge.
Yeah.
I do my part in terms of learning, I do my part in the way I put my work. Hata now even with the people I work with who was compromise, kama uwezi work na mimi vile mimi na work, it's okay. Unaona? Hakuna hiyo mediocrity I count kwangu anymore.
Ngoja nikushow. Unakumbuka zile age ya conquest, age ya affluence. When affluence checks in, conquest is justified. But
madness yangu ina make sense saiji kuna markers of success.
So what do you tell a guy who's a thinker but of course unakaa umechizi for success you look crazy until it works,
but lazima prove point yako because otherwise you're just crazy, honestly,
because genius and crazy the same thing.
The same thing. So I think ni important pia at the beginning kuwa na humility ya could do what is just necessary to break out.
Dumb down.
At the beginning I think it's very important. It doesn't matter how many crazy ideas you have, if the market is not ready for it, it's not ready for it. So kuna hiyo reality ya there's the crazy ideas that you have, but then there's the reality of the market. So mimi at the time kama watu wanataka kuongeza ma complex stuff kwa Young Rich, ninge-stick nayo ingedie season 1. So I guess your adaptability na kujua when is the right time is also very important.
Tupac alisema something. Alisema the height of creative communication is to dumb down your genius.
Until the right time.
Until the right time.
Until the right time.
Juu sasa lazima cross to from conquest to affluence. Then juu results don't lie. Then you ride on the results now to
kama sasa kuna the reality show we're doing is Sauti Sol. Ama tu umeona concert nyumbani for instance. It's a complex story. Ukiangalia if you watch the full episode, we've selected the lyrics to match a story right to the word.
At the time lyrics zikiandikwa na hii
at the time before I am who I am now, hiyo photo yangu ilikuwa too wasted. Jua kama mtu angeangalia hivyo.
Hata wange understand.
Kuna show tunafanya na Sauti Sol sasa hivi na
inajita
Soul Family ina premiere on 2nd of August. 2nd of August. Huge show.
Unajua ndio umecrack history ya reality show.
Reality na documentary Kenya ni mimi, hakuna mtu mwingine. Na bado.
Did you ever think that utakata niche? You come to think of it, it's a niche.
Yeah, it's a niche.
Without your knowledge.
Yeah. Initially, to be honest with you, mistake na interest na any other genres. I find dramas
from
boring.
The beginning.
Nikikwambia kitu moja embarrassing, I'm a filmmaker, sijai watch hata superhero film moja. Think of Venice, sijai watch any. I have zero interest.
Black Panther na nini hizo mavitu.
Black Panther nili watch for the culture.
But
hata nili watch once, na mimi hata siwezi kuambia kitu interesting about your movies. Haikunibamba. And for a very simple reason, I'm usually very single-minded. Me, the things I have interest in, I have interest in. Things I don't have interest in, I don't have interest in.
Period.
It's actually a weakness to some degree. But for me, kama sina interest na kitu. So documentaries.
At first, unajua mse hiyo na ni kama ni rude. Juu, unaambia tu mse not interested. But as an African culture, we are taught to lead on. Even though, unajua tu haita close.
Musama, no is a full sentence in my vocabulary. No.
Even ndio kuko.
So from the very onset, sikuwa na interest na other genres. Nime review kidogo, nime stray kidogo every now and then. But for the most part, in documentary in reality. Now, kuna a lot of scripted stuff siuangalia, but I'm personally very curious about just the human nature and state in itself. I find there's so much to study in just human beings as they are.
Like how do you get a Bahati to sit down and get that there is actually content in his life?
Bahati, ilikuwa long story. Wajua Bahati alikuwa rafiki. Unakumbuka when ulintroduce Bahati?
Nakumbuka.
Most likely.
Kutoka zero.
So Bahati alikuwa tu boy zangu. Alikuwa kama tu kwa apartment yangu tuna hang out every now and then. Akaanza kushare mimi relationship issues zake.
Ulionaje as content msee? Hiyo ndio place yenye
I think
nikitry kushikanisha namuona, but how did you see any content?
Honest na mimi sinanga magical formula ati daily mko tu maisha yangu yote ni content. Mimi amka tu asubuhi nafikiria na hii story interesting. Mimi napenda stories tu overall. So I guess Bahati akiniambia tu story yake, alafu namuuliza kitu ni ukweli. Tulikuwa na kapo nilikuwa na go through akili yako, alafu anakuambia tulikuwa na go through akili yako. I'm sure another million people wanaweza taka kusikia hiyo thinking process.
Chankusho. Sijuka there is a principle susema kwa class. Sema you show me your trophies, you intimidate me. You show me your scars, you inspire me. You show me how your scars become your victory. and you transform my life. Mse unajua hiyo ndio stuff unadu. Yeah. I can't wait kucheki stuff ya Sauti Sol.
Yes, pia Sauti Sol tumeenda even a higher level because as you mentioned ni about vulnerability.
Yeah.
Na kukua your own self. Na of course Bahati alifanya to a whole new level na uliona of course star power yao wote as a family really rise. And I think they continue to do it to this day.
To this day, yeah.
So with Soul family of course it's a different kind of struggle yenye tunafanya na Sauti Sol because Sauti Sol is a bigger team. They have signees, it's a band. They have a longer history of course because they've been around for 15 years.
Structured.
How not wame come into themselves. With Big Bahati we were doing it, he was still very young. Yeah. So a lot
and it was him.
Now these are guys who are in their 30s. Most of them are now married. They're very self-aware. They've gone through it. So the stories are from a more mature retrospective place.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a bigger team. Sauti Sol, most people don't know this, but their structure is made intentionally to support many people.
It's an ecosystem.
An ecosystem. Wana team
it's genius,
na ni intentional, sio kuifanya accidental. Wana team. Sauti Sol nilikuwa nakwambia they have this way of living dope which is discipline, order, persistence and endurance, but they're also big on just being good people and family. As in wako big on good vibes and assisting as many people as they can and making the world better. Now they've been doing it already, but sawa ni show utaiona on a different level because a lot of times a narrative is what tells you who someone is. The same way I was saying Bahati alikuwa na personality kubwa, sisi tulikuwa tunajua, but until you put him on that TV show
hakuna mse alikuwa anajua.
It's like blinking at a girl in the dark. You know what you're doing but no one else does. So
until light
wake. So if on this show like the personalities I was saying come out to be heavy, like the fact of how they're committed to just like being good examples to everyone else, and very quietly just among their team supporting dozens of people down their chain. Now by support your financial like wholesomely,
it's meaningful. Kabisa.
It's a way of living. Wajua kama sasa watu ni vegetarians, watu work out daily. Kuna companies Zoom work out daily ya kila mtu kwa kampuni. Kuna issues of finances you discuss you are openly as in wanna run a very heavy ship na imekuwa a huge learning curve kwangu pia.
Ibu acha nikupull hapo tu kwenye huko. It's hard to teach discipline. Wanna get? Tukispeak about discipline, tume highlight discipline a few levels. Tulianza Redalio, tume highlight a bit of your discipline. Bado tuta highlight tena, tume highlight these creatives, but creatives don't get the discipline end. They get the show end. How do you get them there? I believe issue ya Sauti Sol help itafanya msee one atuwatch tu Netflix alafu tunatokea tunapiga show, ita change a lot. But how do you get them there?
So then I don't think anybody can get you there. Unaona, actually the only artist Kenya nimeona wanawake hivyo ni Sauti Sol na mimi. Na me I don't even consider myself an artist. Me as you know, me an entrepreneur. Just that I make biashara yangu ni art.
How unasema
I don't think anybody can teach you discipline. Unaweza, like for me to be honest with you, where the discipline came is, so I've always been pretty disciplined as unanijua, but also pia there were many years when nilikuwa
tunasema. Mimi ukiwa mzee wa bomu ulikuwa una get there.
But there were also many years hapo in between. Nilikuwa tu hata tramka 8 kama tutalelate saa zingine 10, but discipline means you have a schedule that is there regardless of your feelings. Unajua? Not many people have that. Especially when it comes to art, because ours is watu wanasemanga ni inspiration. Utangoja inspiration uko kwa ina work to some degree, but to go to the next level, wacha nikwambie kama mimi hizi shows na create sahi, the best shows I'm doing the best shows I've done so far, and it's from discipline niko nayo sahi. So creativity kwangu ikwangi about ikini hit nitakuwa nakuanga every day at 4 am na ingoja
unajua nini bila kuinterrupt thought process yako. There is an art and a science to success.
So mine,
so creatives wanajua the art side,
but
the science side
the science
is calculated.
Wajua kuna book nilikuwa nasoma inaitwa Atomic Habits actually ndo namalizia sahi. A lot of people who are good at things aujifanyangi juu ulizaliwa nazo. You can talent is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Inazifanyanga juu umezifanya not for a long time but for the number of frequency.
Repetition.
Yeah, so mastering anything is not about time, it's about frequency. Now here's why the differentiation is important. You can become a good artist by just being an artist for 10 years. But to become a very good artist, you must have been an artist very frequently for that 10 years. And that's where art comes in. That's where discipline comes in.
Science.
If you're a musician and okay, for industry for 10 years, of course you're getting better. But if you're a musician who practices 10 hours every day for 10 years, you're mastering the art. There's a difference between the frequency and time. So some mean
time
discipline allows you time and frequency. And then you can master. Ukiangalia album mpya Sauti Sol for instance, uangalia complexity ya hizo music wanafanya sahi na some of the other local artists, unaweza tell difference ya hiyo frequency. Joana wasiwa daily wana rehearse, ni wasiwa wanamka daily wana dance, ni wasiwa wanamka daily wana workout, ni wasiwa wako na voice lessons weekly, ni wasiwa wako na hadi wa leo. So same model mina apply pia. Constantly bettering ourselves, watching documentaries. We have an editor called Dan, amekuwa my longest collaborator.
Yeah.
Sio kwa tu kama zile late in the night tuna exchange 2 notes about a small change in edit ya
hadi wa leo.
Hadi wa leo.
Tumebe do hivyo for long.
But sasa tunafanya na disciplined manner. Tuko na to do list, siko na to do, tuna system tunatumia iko na to do list ya daily. Na ukifail kuna fine. So unaona hiyo level of discipline au ni hata kuifanya for long. 1 year
inakuwa habit msee.
No, hata si habit, change yenye unaona.
Oh yeah.
Kama ile growth naweza kwambia hii system ya this intense discipline kitu nimeanza kwa 1 year ago hivi. So wacha nipene background ya discipline yangu sasa.
Unajua saa zingine
tunajuana so unajua nini yangu. So every weekday I'm awake at 4 am on the dot without fail. Nakungana alarm tu mbali. Whether niko happy, whether kuna nyesha, so every weekday at 4 am naamka nafungulia dongi zangu. I make a cup of coffee or something, nakaa chini, I'll go through maybe the previous day's work. Kuna usually my team wanahitaji niansa vitu, decision instructions hapa na pale. Then around 4:45 I stop entirely and I read until 6:30. Usually I do between 30 to 60 pages depending on weight ya book. Unajua kuna vitabu huwezi soma lazima tu zipeleke pole juu hata wewe si smart hivyo uko lazima usome tena unarudia. So between 30 and 60 pages without fail every weekday. Then I work out for an hour every weekday, an hour and a half without fail every weekday, unless mimi msika kama kitu dramatic imefanyika.
Na trainer msee, trainer
discipline.
Why a trainer?
Kuna very few things unazojipush mwenyewe na kwa kujidanganya.
So ni accountability.
Ni very few things unazojipush mwenyewe. So accountability ni important. Alafu ni almost like accountability partner. Unajua trainer wangu anaitwa Wallace. Najua atakuwa hapo 6:30. So lazima pia mimi niko hapo 6:30. Amekuwa mute. So mwana kuna hiyo extra element ya responsibility to it. So then after hapo we put in 12 hours easily at least of work.
Energy level iko juu.
Uko at your best. Alama hata zile iko juu, kuna hiyo system already in place. Discipline ina take the day where passion doesn't. Umeona? Because kuna passion inakupeleka only so far. But discipline ina take the rest of the way. Then in bed usually by 9:30 latest. Every single weekday. Of course our weekends ziko na different system. Flexible. But every single weekday. Na since naanza kufanya kitu naweza kuambia compounding power ni heavy. Joshua nikwambia tu simple rahisi. In a month a regular guy you amka 7. Me every day niko na 3 hours ahead. In a month niko na 90 hours more. In a year umeona just logically speaking hatuko na the same.
Na wase wa getting hiyo kitu.
Hiyo element too.
For long mimi nilikuwa na have it's like ku hide ish. Juu especially ukiona people around nani I get why are you reading? What are you reading? Una do exam ama nini? I get
aieleweki. Alafu ndio ile intensity ilikuwa tunaongea kuhusu. So nika place sahi sitaji ku explain mtu yote. When you wanna get. Alafu the fact that been on results as in at this point nikitaka kufanya kitu kingine anything else wanang'anika na waste. Na waste tu watakuwa alive. Najua ile nisha test results za hiyo extra 3 hours na hiyo extra discipline. Alafu kasa nikiongea na other people who do the same thing as me, a difference in a large way.
Not to them it's normal.
Na ni that extra inakatuka 3 hours leo, but cumulatively it goes a long way.
Golf. Why golf? It's not ipitie to sell it. There's a psychological thing about golf that why golf? Why not basketball?
So me kwanza, first of all, sikuangi mtu sporty at all initially, although squeeze yoja niko more fit than anyone, so ineleke
busy man.
But nikumbuka mimi nilikuwa tu mclanky tu, sikuwa na muscles ama nini. So golf ni juu our mutual friend Dennis Makori. Just unajua Dennis vizuri sana.
Ametujenga.
Dennis ametujenga. So Dennis Makori ni businessman wangu. Dennis ucheza golf religiously weekly. Kasa tangu pandemic ianze nimekuwa Dennis ucheza golf daily. Siku hizi tangu pandemic ianze daily. So the first time
only 5 hours msee.
The first time I joined the golf club was 2015, maybe 15. Initially
kitambo hivyo.
Imekuwa a while. Na Kagema 16.
Angalia juzi.
Miaka inakimbia.
Tunazeeka mzee.
Tunazeeka. So initially nilipushwa kujoin golf club na Victor Kagema, one of my very good friends. Ofisi yangu ilikuwa tu next to your golf club tulijoin. Alafu nakumbuka Victor akaenda kusign up na msee ati golf club nilipay how much? Ati 700k kufanya. Mimi msera stuff. Niyo doni na wajile unakumbuka when you make your first money unakumbuka bado na scarcity mentality ati 700k ya nini?
Wataniduia nini?
Hiyo ni capital ya biashara nyingine. Hiyo ni capital ya biashara nyingine. Alafu Victor akanipush. Eventually nika sign up ndio niondoke. Alafu nika go through the whole process ya na nika acceptiwa, nikalipa, nika join. So nilipoingia lessons initially acha nikwambie tu, I think nilishana wewe initially nilipoanza kucheza golf.
Ukibaika
nikashare nikabike nini. So the first time niliingia kwa course, mimi nilianza kucheza golf very different. Unajua ideally wasio wanacheza golf ku network. Mimi nilianza tu kwenda asubuhi mapema na kadi.
Una get kadi mnasukuma naye.
Mimi peke yangu alafu nachapa haraka ndio niondoke. Kuna kitu about kwa hii beautiful space in the morning alafu na take a long walk, alafu kuna kitu inaitwa tu focus, inakudecongest in a big way. Alafu wasicheza golf for networking na idealism of 4 ball na 3 ball, mimi hadi leo mcheza golf peke yangu. Kuna hiyo element tu.
Naamka tu nachukua kadi
decongest siku moja tu. Alafu mimi hata kadi yangu atuongeangi. Wewe baki huko nyuma. Mimi niko mbele. Una spend 2 hours alone in this beautiful nature. Now golf clubs of course ni moral June. Kuna hizi huge tracts of land zinatumia a lot of water, zimemake that way for a few people. But there's no discounting what it does for you mentally. Alafu nikacheza golf nikacheza for a while.
It's relative.
It's relative.
Kwa sababu value to the regular eyes of a society ni udiumini nyasi yote hakuna kitu. But value is relative. Intrinsic value that harness you from that plainness of it is
alafu
crazy.
Mimi nikatoa competition entirely, so sinanga hata handicap. Sichezangi for that same reason. So again nasema mimi hizo 2 hours nitembea tu kwa hiyo golf course 13 kilometers, unajua kabla ufanye 18 hole ni 13 kilometers.
Unatembea
uko na kadi wako tu mmenyamaza. Alafu unajua golf iko na rules mingi about noise, about distance,
it's very etiquette.
Everybody is very cordial to everyone, so it's a pleasant experience all through. But alafu your phone is away, so it's this 2 hours to just be. Alafu the golf ni fun, but sasa mimi just zangi na handicaps, nanga hiyo pressure ya keep contact yote. So nacheza tu for the sake of kucheza na walk na poteza ball ni nini. But of course I najaribu get better, so game ina improve as you go. So that 2 hours, alafu there's also something psychologically that it does for me personally.
Talk about that.
Background yangu mali nimetoka, as in just less than 10 years ago sikuwa na mali ya kulala. Unajua kile inamaanisha ku have to access to such a place, there's something it does for you mentally. Alafu unaamkia huko asubuhi uko na kuna club zako, kuna mse ana cater for you, yani there's something it uplifts you mentally somehow.
Alafu there are a few rituals about it.
That lazima kuwe na collar shirt, lazima utakili, you must be polite to everyone. By the way, join a golf club, one of the worst things that is kufanya uchujwe immediately ni kuyell at the staff.
Yes.
At least kwa club yetu. Ukikuwa belligerent to any staff member, it's immediate expulsion. So that setting forces you to be polite to everyone.
And what does that do to you in the real life?
That gentleness unaibeba outward. So one of the things about golf clubs, for anybody who hasn't, you know that there are clubs, you just don't pay alafu una accept. You have to be
vetted.
Unavetiwa, and the vetting takes like 2 months. So like at my club, the first process was apply when the interview, na hiyo interview lazima uvae suit na tie.
Kama na tie wanakutoa.
Hiyo imeisha. Urudi uandike CV yako na useme mbona. Spend an evening talking to senior members ukisema wewe ni nani na mbona unafaa kujoin club. Eventually it shall make sense wakuweka kwa board for 30 days in case mtu yote umwe kwa mtu yote hiyo imeisha hivyo. And then when they accept you, they give you that tie na nakwambia you're now one of us and you must abide by this code of conduct, you must be this gentle. And of course kuna watu kadhaa wafuatangi.
Yes.
But that whole notion of being in that fraternity, there's something it does for you. It changes your way of thinking. Like now at the club, I could be there na kuna minister mzima tu pale anaenjoy tu kahawa yake, atakusalimia as a member, hakuna maneno, everybody is there is equal, watu wengi na bodyguards ama nini. There's just it's a great community to belong to in that sense. Of course it's very elitist and not open to a lot of people, but there's something it does for your mindset. Now, so mimi nikacheza golf for a while, but unfortunately nikaanza kukosa hiyo time ya 2-3 hours. So I've just gotten back to it barely now. But of course the mindset never leaves. So I work out at the golf club. Of course I go for club nights. I still hang out with those people. There's something about the aspirational aspect and looking at life differently at a golf club that you find. Alafu unajua wazae fikirangi mwaka. Msana anacheza golf for 5 hours. Jana ako 10 years ahead. Yes, strategy yake iko 10. Being around people who think that way really opens up your mind.
Then it surprises you that thinkers actually exist.
Everyone is thinking. Strategize. Alafu mzee yako tu anakuuliza what have you been up to? Na kuna nawa ya kukusikiza.
Yuko na anataka kujua why. Have you thought of?
Alafu it's in a golf club is when you see wealth at work. Kusikeza. Ni msee alishakonka azulisema. It's probably elderly, retire. Ana do yake. But the way they think is entirely different. Unaambia tu kitu anakwambia, but have you thought about it in this long-term way?
Yes.
Unajua kuinja mimi na wewe bado tuko nini wage bill ya next year.
Tunadu gig.
Wewe contract iko wapi? Being around people who have been validated by life enough to not be worried by it. Really changes how you think.
That's true. Kuna mzee fulani aliniambia, I get it. I see what you're doing. Have you ever thought of building a city? What? Have you ever thought of building a city? Mse tulibonga for hours about a city.
I think the fact that kwanza watu wa golf club, I think the fact that wako in the daily hustle. Because sometimes being an entrepreneur, like mimi daily, mimi na deal na ma accountants, na deal na ma producers, na suppliers tu wajafanya kazi walikuwa na kufanya. So ni ngumu sana, by then kwanza hiyo connect. Na watu wana call from a company jo wanahitaji sijui ma posters na ma pictures, unajua. At the end of the day uko drained. I think to see a situation properly you have to be out of it. So being around hours there wa golf club, also kwa the daily hustle.
Wacha to harvest. Let's harvest some things from that.
Game Wednesday afternoon.
Ebu harvest a few things tuziekelee.
Anakuambia game Wednesday afternoon, unamuuliza si Wednesday ni work day. Si but I'm inviting you for a work game.
It's true.
Wewe unajiondoa kwa reality umejicreate mwenyewe, kuna kile unaambiwa azimisi work for mtu yote, unaweza enda for a game on Wednesday afternoon, but naikataa. Mzee yuko kwa hiyo hustle. So I think being exposed to watu kama hao, unajua tukaa kina Dennis Pewe on the same role for a while. Kama Dennis Makori, every 2-3 days in a week atachukua a day off, na unajua ni hard work and everything. But Dennis ameweza kujipull out of the daily hustle mentally.
By the way, ndiye alitutichile kitu working in the business and working on the business.
You're either working in the business where you're an employee of the business, or you're working on the business. But to work on the business, lazima ujiondoe. Now me, I have trouble doing that, especially kama sai. Of course, now is a different time because we're all fighting for our survival.
Tuko preservation.
Tuko preservation mode. Unajua tukiongea nayo initially pandemic ikianza tukisema let's live to fight another day.
It's true.
So I think golf club imenijenga in that sense. Hiyo kuweza kuona watu na hiyo mentality, watu hawako worried about the daily struggles so much so that now allow kuona the bigger picture.
What can you say about a long game? A long game is not popular, especially to our generation. What has that taught you about a long game?
The thing, I think I'm going to answer a bit more personally.
Okay.
For a long time, mimi nilikuwa about to accumulate cash and basically making more and more and more and more. Na bado sijaondoka hiyo entirely. But again, thinking in terms of long term, unaanza kufikiria in terms of output yako na process. So now I'm more concerned about building a process than the actual accumulation itself. Because once you build the process, you can continue accumulating forever.
Yes. Automated.
So I think every day saa hii nafikiria, if I'm going to make a TV show, let me make one good one that can go a long way. If I'm going to put together a team, watch at the beginning to kuna footfall as much as possible until upate tu ile the few good members will go a long way. Alafu you can do the same for almost every industry. Alafu unajua mimi nimediversify before COVID. So like for instance, tulikuwa tunaingia into farming heavily, ile beef lot tunayo. Tuna beef lot Isinya, I think unajua about it.
Kumbuka ile time ya matractor.
Hata matractors hizo zilienda mbaya, but tuko na beef lot na vitaka gema. We do premium beef.
Yes, nakumbuka.
Of course tukifungua, unajua about club business yangu. Ofikiri tukifungua club moja kali, unafikiri kufungua I bought a chain and unaweza offload, and the only thing you can offload is a system, as you know about franchising. So tuko in the process of building hizo systems. So say a few times me forgo the big payday in favor of the system, because I think your system unaweza rip from it forever.
Unajua sijui nini you happen mtu anajigeta hapo. For me,
lazima uondoke survival mode. Always have you thinking kama una struggle kujilisha. At least for me ndio happen. Nilifika place niko financially comfortable enough. Do I think for me for me my life ilinipeleka poa. Nilifika financially nikaanza travel the world, unarudi unadoijaisha.
Travel.
Nimeenda before corona happened, nilikuwa na hit about 15 countries
na Sumari.
Shady fresh. Hata kwa interview wezi niachie. JSK every conversation.
Unashanga Eugene direct na kwa Sumari tu.
Ulikuwa sababu about hiyo element ya process. Hiyo switch you happen.
You switch you happen. For me vile naiona ni na get unawaka unakula then unaanza kuona for me what really tickles fancy ni to build, kuchimba kisima. I want to dig a well yenyewe itoe maji, then to drink forever. Like
na kudiga well lazima go deep.
To dig a well lazima go deep, and it's unpopular and it takes long and no one wants to do the dirty work. But kudiga well, if you dig the first well, then you find out the principle ya kubuild a template ya kudig wells quicker, building something that can be able to outlast me. So that can only be an infrastructure, an ecosystem. Tumebonga story ecosystem. Sai niko so interested I'm not interested in building a gig to make something. I want a well that naweza pull back, then ni building in naweza pull back, ni building in like that. So when you look at it from that point of view, then you realize an ecosystem, people will plug into it. Wanna get? So it came to hit me much later that it takes the same effort kujenga kitu ndogo na kujenga kitu big.
Kuna dispenser na kujenga well, the same effort.
It's the same effort. So unakaibu unashanga
ndio wanakuambia sasa unaforgo tu hiyo big payday because in the same amount of work.
It's the same.
Afadhali ufanya tu vizuri one time.
alafu you'll spend the time anyway.
You spend the time anyway. And time will pass anyway.
Yeah.
Alafu I think systems were daunting, eh?
Yes.
Juu pia as Africans wenyewe hatuja grow in a lot of them. Hata ukiangalia family setup zetu nini hakunanga systems heavily. System were daunting. Juu ikangi ni kama unaijenga kama nani na watu wengine hawajaijenga around wewe.
Exactly.
As unajua wewe ni special aje tuna work on.
Yes.
Wasi wengine work 8 hours na utawaka. Hado jana unaweza kwamba utaburn out msee. Utaburn out.
Alafu wasuka Eugene unadu vitu mob.
Za nini?
Unashanga. I'll get
but time data ita vindicate.
Juu za zile tutatoka from conquest to affluence without a doubt. Watasoma books zetu.
Alafu waja power compounding.
Yes. Power compounding. So you stuff in animate sense. Juu niko conscious that a time will come backbone zetu zitaanza kukata. Mguu zitaanza kufail.
But umejenga enough for 3 generations.
Exactly. Yani sisi taka to hustle say forever. I add up, unakuwa mzee wako alikuwa na hustle. Unakuwa je mzee wako una hustle na yeye.
Unatafuta pension huko tu kwa ofisi za serikali.
I make sense. Mbona tusidiga well then to drink from the well. Then besides hautaweza
maliza well. Alafu kinatushare na mafamili zao. Wewe mabeshi zetu kuna mabeshi kadhaa tunao wenye wamebuild generational life na family zao. Na muona vile ni magical. As in grandchildren ona na of course ukiwa train vizuri wana bado wanateka from the same kisima yao ya Kitale unajua
exactly ukiangalia tuko fortunate how did we get to know ourselves so ndio tumalizie na the power of a reference point tulitoa wapi ourselves by the
I think mimi ndo nilisat your ball rolling Young Rich nilibring your community hawa wote pamoja unakumbuka tulikuwa tuna zile networking dinners kila mtu akano each other. Of course nyinyi mkaleta mara alafu tulifail by the way tulileta kuifanya
but true
alafu tulikuwa despite Young Rich sote tulikuwa dedicated to learning tulikuwa have to dinners
tujue
na kuna dinner tulikuwa tunakam mimi na kuintroduce kwa watu wa AU wao meleta tusijua wa company gani ya insurance alafu hatuna agenda tusikie tu alafu over time wase wamegrow ukiangalia literally in the 7 years network yetu wase wamegrow in leaps
by the way wase wamegrow
na ukiangalia the trajectory yetu tunaishia in another 10 years ndio watakuwa na rani nchi wase wako group yetu tu
hizo ma infrastructure tunasema msee itakuwa ni wase tu watakuwa na zirani and that's an amazing thing
nilikushow earlier nikikupea story yangu ya period vile corona nimego through struggles of course contracts zikaenda chini zikatoka now everyone of course a lot of people are going through tough times sai na nikashare nawe the same quote yenye ulikuwa unajua pia tukasema in a time of crisis be proactive hope is not a strategy
correct
okay in times of a crisis be proactive hope is not a strategy amka fanya kitu
usifunga kate ni chill
hope is not a strategy so things zinakaa tough but dunia iko waseni wasiki but wanahitaji dawa umeelewa wasawa kuomba wanahitaji kula which ndio dunia just stop so in need time kuwa proactive hope sio strategy tafuta kitu umeona kasa hiyo tuko hapa mimi na tunado job hata I'm sure we take more downtime sahi juu uko na moto umerecord more vizi podcast
umerecord even more
umerecord more
mimi unajua si hatukutinga
mimi nakwambia mimi personally my passion projects sahi nimezi explore niko tu proactive hope si enough sio strategy
true
hiyo ndio parting shot yangu
hiyo noma hii stuff tutaikata twice tutaikata as video and tutaikata as well as audio so
tukuintroduce SK tunajuana kindani
tunajuana kindani saa mini SK I think you iko sawa
na mimi am Eugene Mbugua I'm an entrepreneur and very good friends with SK
kabisa strong